everyone who comes in contact with the sport and plays just ends up liking it. And they want to tell other people about it. And it's competitive, yet you can't leave the court even after a loss and feel bad for too long, maybe for 5 minutes, and you're like, all right, let's go play again. There's something about the community that just wants to see it keep growing and spread it, and sure, the celebrity thing helped market it to the masses. Because I thought a couple years ago, like, all right, we've been playing every day for 6 months. Am I really gonna wanna do this in 3.5 years, still play every day? And people are gonna call me to go out and play games. We're just like always gonna meet up. And it's like, that's what everyone does for fun now. Like my whole friend group plays pickleball. People organize their weeks and months and trips and around the sport, but like, I wouldn't have it any other way, I think. There's something addicting about the strategy, the sound of the ball, the feeling you get when you outwit someone, out-athletic someone, whatever it may be. I don't know, it's here to stay, thank God.
What's your name? Hayden? I'm Matt. Nice to meet you, man. Oh yeah, all right, let's see how many we can go in a row.
Born in Erie, Pennsylvania. I was premature by 3.5 months, less than 2 pounds actually, so I was like a Children's Miracle Network kind of baby. We moved into a house with a tennis court when I was about 3, and I used to walk on the court in like diapers or chase my sister around because she was playing tennis. Got into tennis at an early age. I was the one that took it most seriously. So tennis was kind of like my identity growing up. Did my junior tennis in Erie, then went to high school in South Florida in Boca Raton at Everett Tennis Academy. Have you ever seen the movie Never Back Down? The 13-year-old kid moves down and he's like struggling because he was a Prodigy where he was from, and then he gets to Florida and everyone's good. You definitely had that kind of feeling. But by the end of it, I was top 10 in Florida. The end of high school, I went to USC my freshman year, so I was pretty good. So I was a good junior, not elite. I think I saw the writing on the wall probably at the end of juniors, and then definitely early on in college that I wasn't going to be a pro player. I always wanted to do something in California. Once Entourage came out, I was like, all right, I want to be a sports agent. Like that was kind of, and I guess it's every Jewish kid's dream, right? To be an Ari Gold.
Angles. Don't delete that.
I was coaching tennis on tour to a top 50 player. Indian Wells got canceled. Supposed to go to Florida. My parents were like, you may have COVID. It was like when everyone was freaking out. So I went to Pennsylvania, had nothing to do. I was making a lot of TikToks that were pretty terrible, although one went viral. Old tennis friends and even friends of my dad that used to play tennis with him were like, we're playing pickleball if you want to come out. We know you're in Erie alone. Like right away, I was like, wow, this sport's like awesome. I lost to like some 6-year-old guy immediately. He was like passing me and I didn't understand some of the nuances to it, but like quickly I just became hooked. And it was something, I think, because of the pandemic, we were all cooped up inside. This was like the first time you could go out and do anything, and it was great. We all became obsessed. The fact that I could be good right away because of tennis is definitely appealing, right? So I didn't go out and I wasn't the worst by any means, but I was like, all right, I could compete immediately. And now that part was fun. It's funny because now, 4 years later, still playing is enjoyable. I haven't lost the love for playing, talking about it, teaching it. And that's unique because I guess I still love tennis, but I definitely lost the love for it like I had for pickleball.
Angles.
It's like if ping pong and tennis had a child. So the spins when you're at that kitchen line, and I'll explain that in a second, is more similar to ping pong. But then there's a lot of movement patterns and technique that also translate from tennis. What pickleball is, it's an outdoor sport or indoor. The court is 1/3 of the size of a tennis court. Still have a net. You're playing either 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. The differentiator is that kitchen or the non-volley zone. So it's 7 feet from the net on either side, that area. You can't take a ball out of the air, a volley, with your feet inside that. It's the only racket sport with a net that you can't cut off an angle by going on top of the net. So that's a huge differentiator, and it's really like a cat and mouse strategic game, but as the paddles are getting better, as the athletes that are coming in it are evolving, the sport is getting faster and faster and more athletic as well.
Yes, oh, that's the right ball.
So in Erie, we were playing every day, let's say for 2 months. And all that was showing up on my Instagram feed, people were like, well, you should come and play a pro event. So I had a friend in Orlando, Tony Giannoni. Tony was a friend from college coaching, and I didn't even really know he was in the pickleball world at all. And he's like, dude, I know Ben Johns and Simone Jardim were running this camp. You should also play pro doubles with this guy, Ryan Sherry. Ryan was like, he's like, dude, if we're gonna play this tournament, you gotta come down to Florida and train for a week. Like, I'll fly you down, you could stay at my place. And we were training for a few days, and then Ben Johns came out, and the #1 player in the world. And we played with him, and Tony was like, dude, you should take this clinic with Ben and Simone. And Simone was #1 in the world on the women's side at the time. And it would be like 3 months into tennis, taking a private jet with Serena and Federer, and then learning from them immediately, hearing about their stories on tour, the insider technique. Like, I got all of this like 3 months into picking up the sport. Fast forward, a month later, 2 months later, I was playing Ben Johns on center court, second round of a PPA event in the main draw with Ryan Cherry. So the first event that I played with Ryan in Newport Beach, I was like, all right, if I'm gonna come to LA, I'll come a week early and train. I'm not just gonna come for the tournament. We went out there, Doug Ellen, the creator of Entourage, we met in Pasadena. He's like, oh, you're really good. And, we were both Jewish and just like, had, a vibe. And then I was like, this is just incredible. Like the doors that pickleball open in 1 week in LA is like unlike any other doors that could open anywhere else. And I was like, I need to move out here. And I knew about the Riviera Country Club. I was like, it's gonna be my goal to start pickleball there. They're like, well, we really like you. We wanna see how you do with ladies and just a small group, because that's probably gonna be your clientele, we think, at the beginning. And they only had 1 court anyways. They gave me Ashley David, Larry's wife, Sarah Staudinger, which is now Ari Emanuel's wife, and then Rhea Burkus, who's Jim Burkus's wife. And that kind of core crew turned into like, oh, on Sundays, we want to bring our husbands out. And then that turned into like a crew, and then it turned into Joel Silver coming out and some other big producers. And that Sunday crew, it was what pickleball represents. It's bringing people together that shouldn't be together. It's a social, community-driven sport. And then it morphed into, I worked with Emma Watson, Jamie Foxx, Matthew Perry. He was probably my first big client, I would say. Very lucky and fortunate to get to know him and build a friendship with him. So yeah, and when we first started working, I think he was still struggling with some of the things he was struggling on, but he was so nice. I thought we had a lot of things in common. He's from Canada, I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania, which may as well be Canada. Both liked hockey, both played junior tennis. So I think we had a good friendship. Immediately he asked me about my life, girls, I would do the same. So I just think it was like a fun, easy thing. I saw he was struggling, but I just sensed he was such a good person too that I was like, I want to make sure that he continues on this path. Whatever it takes for you to sustain this and get out of whatever your troubles you have, I'm here for you. I think by the end of our year and a half working together and friendship and all of that stuff, I think he was in a good place. He had started working with another pro at the Riv as well once I left the Riv. He was on a good path, and I'm happy that pickleball was part of that. I'm happy that I got to be a part of it. Tragedy for sure, because I think he was finally on a good path. My last name is Manasse, and when I was in high school, I had a coach, he'd be like, go run the Lake McNasty. And McNasty kind of just stuck forever. I guess it's easier than Manasse. And then when I came into pickleball, the first event that I signed up for, I saw on the draw Johnny Pickleball, the Flying Unicorn, all these different nicknames on the draw, and I'm like, how can you put a nickname on a real official pro draw? Like, it doesn't exist in any other sport. Screw it, I will be Pickleball McNasty. Like, that's who I am, and then that stuck as well. So that's what I go by.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Ooh.
It definitely is a second act. I didn't know what I was going to do after tennis. At the end of college coaching, I got out of it because I was like, I can't see myself rolling out the balls to practice at 4:30 on a Tuesday when I'm 50 years old. Pro coaching wasn't for me. It felt mind-numbing that I couldn't build my own brand. I couldn't do anything for myself. I don't know, the pandemic hit in the perfect time. It allowed me to reset. That gave me the perspective and time to just be like, all right, what do you actually want to do? Pickleball came at the perfect time. I'm surprised it's pickleball that's caused the second act, sure. Who would have known? I didn't know about the sport, and it's wild that it's grown at such a rapid pace that there's opportunities to even have a career in it. I'm not surprised that I'm capable of building a career and building a brand, because I've always wanted to do that, that's for sure.